Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to episode 241 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And I'm still Barbara.
Still?
I'm still. That's not my name. I'm just still Barbara. Yes.
Oh, still Barbara.
Yeah.
Rather than moving Barbara, you're just still Barbara.
I'm never still, actually. But
it doesn't sound like it.
Nope. Life would be slow. I'm not slow. I'm super fast. What's happening?
So this is actually the first time we've recorded since not last
Whitmix.
weekend, but the weekend before. Yeah, the Whitmix Digital Forum. It was so good to be together again and recording at an event.
And we had so many great conversations.
Oh, amazing ones. I mean, we talked about training, ovens, fixed full arch solutions, name changes. I mean, we just cover the whole gambit of great conversations.
There's one you totally geeked out on. My God.
Yeah.
The infinite one. Jesus. It was way over my head.
Yeah, and then we had one with the ceramist that you geeked out on.
True.
That was over my head. So a little give and take. But honestly, we had some great conversations and we cannot wait to release them. So please stay tuned. A lot of good stuff coming. But we will mention that also they started taking registration. That's right. But we will mention that they started taking registrations for one of our favorite shows of the year. And it always starts off a new year. And this year, 2023, the Vision 21 meeting in Vegas, January 19th to the 21st. This year, it is called Your RX for Success.
I like that.
Yeah, you see what they did there? The RX. Yeah, that's pretty clever. This is an amazing meeting. You know, it's for management and the business side of our industry. So you won't learn about porcelain techniques or denture processing, but you will learn about marketing, developing leaders, FDA updates, creating good culture, all that good stuff that happens off the bench.
Yeah.
So head over to nadl.org for a link to register. All right, I'm going to grab my dog so she doesn't whine. Hold on. What are you doing running away? Come here. Come here. All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
So this week we have a great down-to-earth conversation with a lab out of California. I got to know Cirenia Tobon online, mostly by her posts and comments on all of our memes. She wanted to come on the podcast to tell her story along with the owner of the lab that she is currently at. But as we got ready to record, the owner of ProCraft Dental Lab couldn't connect. Technical difficulties. But the next best thing happened, and his son, Dylan Schubert, the next generation lab owner, was able to join. It actually worked out really well, and we had a great conversation. Cirenia talks about learning lab work in Mexico and being able to visually replicate what she saw. Taking that skill and following love, Cirenia ends up running her own lab in California before ultimately ending up at ProCraft running the removable department. Dylan is your typical lab rat raised in a lab, falling in love with the profession and not being able to see themselves do anything else. They talk about the workflow, the training, some interesting marketing that they're doing, and moving more digital as the demand for it increases. So join us for a great conversation with Cirenia Tobon and Dylan Schubert. You know, Barb, the holidays are just around the corner.
I know, Elvis, don't remind me. We've got gifts, vacation, celebration, food, and God, it gets so expensive.
Heck yeah, it's expensive, extremely in this economy. Have you ever thought about turning in your alloy scrap from the lab?
Well, I'll be who has scrap anymore. Everything is mostly zirconia these days, right?
True. But just look on how high the price of precious metals are.
Oh, yeah.
Record highs. Off the charts. Of course, you are using less precious metals these days, but if you turn in half of what you sent in 5 years ago, you will get more now than you got 5 years ago. Half! Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can actually. That's amazing.
Of course, this is all if you use a trusted reputable refining company.
Well, I can say this, and I know this for sure. The only company I know that has been tested, trusted, and reputable for over 100 years is Kulzer. They burn, melt, and assay all under one roof in their state-of-the-art refining facility in Wartburg, Tennessee.
You know, they've actually doubled their production capacity to ensure that you get your payout within 2 weeks.
That's quick.
That's plenty of time to have your money before the holidays.
I've got a question, though. How much of the value will we get?
Well, the most of any company. Think about it. Their reimbursement to you is everything. Everything that you turn in, all they take is a 10% refining fee.
Wow.
There are 0 additional fees. Kulzer Refining will also send you a free container to ship it in, a prepaid fully insured UPS label, everything you need to get started. Just head over to mydental360.com/refining or call our good friend, the Director of Precious Metal Refining, Tony Circelli, at 914-906-1843.
Well, I can tell you this. As soon as we're done, I'm going to ask somebody to collect all the vacuum bags, floor sweeps, miscasts, and spills from all over the lab so that we can get the best scrap return in the industry with Kulzer Refining.
Well, just because I know that you listen to the podcast, all you got to do is mention or note Voices from the Bench when you're turning in your scrap, and Kulzer Refining will add an additional 5%.
Wow. That's a lot.
To your value. Isn't that huge?
Yeah.
Just think of the gifts you could buy and send to us at the podcast. It's amazing. And we appreciate your support of the podcast, Kulzer Refining, that is always tested, trusted, and honest. Voices from the Bench. The interview.
We always compliment each other, you know. We've done this so many times. And he always mispronounces names. So.
Oh, yeah. Mine is even harder to pronounce. So I don't blame him.
I'm pretty good, you know. I mean, considering the first try, you didn't correct me. So.
No.
We'd like to welcome to the podcast today, Cirenia Tobon from California. How are you today?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Barb from the other coast in Florida.
Yep, you know
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sandwiched in the middle is me in Indiana.
Illinois.
Illinois, same difference. Cirenia, welcome to the podcast. Tell us, how did you get into dental technology?
So basically, all of my family are either dental technicians or dentists. So they kind of forced me into it.
So growing up, so both parents or your dad or your mom?
No, all my uncles from my mom's side. Mm-hmm.
So did you hang out in the lab growing up?
Yeah, so it was funny because I started in high school. I started cleaning up my uncle's lab, and then I started just watching. I have a photographic memory. So one day, one of his technicians wasn't there, and I told him I could help him. And he said, "No, you're just a little girl. You don't know anything." So he gave me a WhatsApp, and I surprised him, and then he hired me.
Well, you literally, when you say photographic memory, there's a lot between knowing what something looks like and being able to do it. So you had never waxed before?
No.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
But just by watching him, you're able to mimic that?
Yeah, but I was watching him for 2 years, so I was watching for a long time.
Okay. That makes a little more sense.
Is this in California?
No, that was back in Mexico.
Mexico, okay. What city in Mexico were you?
It's Puebla, Mexico.
Where the heck is that?
It's 2 hours south to Mexico City.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How big was the lab?
It was pretty big. He had like 10 employees.
Oh, that is a good size.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Only removable?
No. Over there is it's a mix of removable, crown and bridge, and a denturist.
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting. Is denturist legal in Mexico?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
We spend so much time talking about Canada. We don't, consider
Really.
the other end.
Yeah.
So you were still in high school. So you sat down that day in high school, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And he
Yes.
gave you a job the next day. So you just came on part-time after school?
Yes. I was going to school in the morning, coming to the lab to work at night, and the house that was connected to the lab. So we were spending a long time in the lab.
Oh, yeah, I bet. So what'd you do? Just immediately fall in love with it?
No. No, I've always wanted to do something in science. I love biochemistry, and I'm going to school majoring in biochemistry, but that helped me to pay for my school basically, and it is doing the same thing right now.
Wow.
Is that what brought you to California, was school?
No, it was a boyfriend.
I could just tell by the tone in your voice that was a guy.
Yeah. And then I found a job here, and I was pretty surprised that I had the qualifications to do the same work that I had over there. And I was a little bit more trained because I had knowledge in removables and a little bit of crown and bridge and how to take impressions and all of that stuff.
So everything you learned in Mexico pretty much translated to when you came up to the States.
That's right.
Did you notice anything was done differently, or was it all pretty much the same?
There is more specialties here in the United States. And
Okay.
Yeah, over there dentists do a lot of extractions rather than like here the oral surgeons have to do the extractions and all that stuff.
Oh, and
I see.
dentists can do. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
like full mouth extractions.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you find the type of setup or the shade of teeth different between the two countries? Was America all white? White and shiny and straight?
It's just the technical language. It's a little bit different, way different. But the materials, we get Vita teeth over there. We get Noble Biocare implants over there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you came up to the States and tried out at this lab, did they give you a working interview or?
Yes, they did. They gave me a case, full upper, full lower, trying with teeth, and I finished it in, I think, in 45 minutes, and they were pretty happy. So they hired me right away.
I'd tell you, if somebody came in off the street that could do that in 45 minutes, we'd hire you too. So.
I hope Greg hears this interview.
And says, damn, she's good. So were you always just a removable technician, or did you ever delve into ceramics or anything else, implants?
No, I've always focused more on the removable side. And not too long ago, I had the chance to do some CAD design and finish counts from start to finish, but I'm not pretty good.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you have a photographic memory, so I'll guarantee you if you did it a couple times. But I think we just gravitate to what pleases us. And so I don't do any digital either. And I'm on the bench ceramist, and that's what I love.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. So, guys, I have Greg's son here, Dylan Schubert, joining us. Is that okay?
Sure.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, it's going pretty good.
Greg's having a little bit of technical difficulty, so he asked me to jump on in here and talk with you guys.
Fantastic.
Sure. And your name was Dylan?
Yes, my name's Dylan.
Dylan, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So are you the lab owner?
Yes, me and my dad are in the lab. It's kind of a family business, been a family business for quite a while now. I started working here when I was really young, probably about 13, and I've been here ever since, making teeth, making all the old ladies happy.
Have you old ladies happy? Have you ever done anything different in your life?
No, I haven't, man. Born and bred in a dental lab.
So was I.
I swear I have porcelain running through my veins.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, let's shift a little bit, if you don't mind. But Dylan,
Sure.
Let's hear the story of the lab. What's the name of the lab? Did your dad start it?
Yeah, so
Give us a little rundown.
Absolutely. So the name of the lab is ProCraft Dental Laboratory. We're here in Southern California. So Greg started this lab when he was about 19 years old.
19.
Yeah, back in 1979 is when they first started. So he was a big surfer still is a big surfer. And I think he was spending a little too much time at the beach. And so my grandpa at the time actually said, hey, I know this guy, Ed Shitaro, he owns a dental lab and they make teeth. So why don't, let's go tour his lab and see what you think. So, he went down there at 19 years old, toured this lab. And at the time, the owner of the lab, Ed Shitaro, told him, hey, if you go to this, this dental technician trade school, I'll hire you. So he said, all right. So he went to, I forget what the name of the trade school was at the time, but he went to that trade school and then went and worked for Ed for a number of years. And then ultimately decided, hey, I think I want to try to do this on my own. At that point, he had been with Ed for a few years, and he had already recruited one of his good friends that also worked there. And so the two of them broke off and opened a dental lab.
So how the heck did your grandpa find out about it?
So my grandpa's an engineer. He worked on parts for the space shuttle, actually. And he worked with someone there at the place that he was working. I forget the name of the company, but this Ed Shitaro had broken off from that company years previous to open up his own dental lab. And so they were buddies. They were friends.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. And so he knew of him and said, hey, my dad had always liked working with his hands. He'd always build models and always real into that kind of stuff. So, when my grandpa heard what Ed was doing, he said, hey, Greg probably would like to do that because it's, as you guys know, it's a lot of working with your hands.
Yep.
So 2 years in school, a couple years working with this guy, and then he opens up his own.
Yep, that was it. And actually the garage of one of my grandpa's rental houses is where they first opened up their lab, right out of the garage.
Yeah.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
I remember those days. That's where my dad opened his lab in Detroit, Michigan, in a garage. Yep. Same damn thing. That's awesome.
Obviously, it's not in a garage anymore.
No. Now, a couple labs later, we're down here in Southern California in the building we're in now. He purchased this building when it was dirt, and then built out all inside of it, and it's state of the art facility here, and we're still here, and it's a great place to work.
So you came aboard at 13, probably part-time, weekends, doing all the crap work that your dad gave you. And then when you graduated, so what are you doing now in the lab? Actually, where did you start in the lab?
So I started doing model and die, like we all start, or most of us anyway, just doing regular stone models, pinned and cut models. And I did that for basically all through high school. I'd come in, like you said, about part-time, did about 30 models, 25 models a day, and then graduated. And then now I'm presently managing the digital side of things, digital department. I wear a lot of hats here, like a lot of business owners. But mostly I focus on the digital department and progressing the technology, because it's, it changes so quickly every day,
Yeah.
Serena, when you were in Mexico, I'm not sure the years that you came over, but was digital a part of the lab down there?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So when you came over to ProCraft, obviously they were already into it.
Yes.
How was that transition? Were you scared of it when you first saw it? Were you excited about it?
No, I'm super excited about learning new things, but I had a chance to design crowns before I started working at ProCraft.
Okay.
But it was just one meal and laptop designing, so it was pretty nice to see new equipment and a lot of mills and everything working 100% all the time. And we always say, or Greg always tells us, if it doesn't look like the workers are working like the In-N-Out burgers, it's not working.
Well, because you're just sitting at a computer, not moving around a lot, or
no, it's like it's a joke. It's an inside joke.
Basically, we try to pattern ourselves after making everything as easy as possible.
Yeah,
sure.
Kind of like In-N-Out. If you guys ever seen how proficient they are in making hamburgers. So he always relates the production line to making it as easy and as simple as it could be. And I think digital definitely brings in that ease, and definitely helps us streamline a lot of what we do.
Yeah. So Dylan, were you big on getting digital into ProCraft? Or was your dad already into it?
We started. Man, let me see here. The very first mill, we got a lava mill, and we were just milling out copings.
Yeah.
At that time. And we were using an old EnvisionTech Profactory machine to also 3D print some of the metal copings, to be casted. And
was that the big one that looks like a fish tank or a cotton candy machine?
yeah, it's big.
Yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, it was a great machine. It worked well for a lot of years. So that's how they started.
$1,000 light bulb.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the stupid light bulb, man. I remember that thing always burning out, and you always had to it's nice and clean. So that was where we first started the digital work, was just the milling the zirconia copings, and then we would hand stack porcelain on that, and then casting the metal copings from the per factory printed stuff.
I think we all had that.
Yeah. And then from that point forward, we went on to purchasing, let me see here. We went from we purchased the lava mill, and then we had origin mills. We had 2 of those, and those were when we first started milling out our full contour zirconia crowns, was with those origin mills. And we had those for a good few years. And then those things were very robust. They weren't initially made for the dental industry, so they were giant, big giant metal parts. And the small movements of milling out a crown would always knock out the calibration frequently. So we were always messing with that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so then we moved on from those to the roll-in mills, which are very common and very popular now.
Oh yeah.
So we use those, and we have a true mill for metal, is what we presently use for metal stuff.
Oh wow.
Zirconia is all out of the roll-ins.
How big is the lab now?
Right now we're about 35 people here at ProCraft.
Oh wow.
We're just happy to have made it through COVID, to be honest. That was rough for I think a lot of dental labs out there, for a lot of people. And we're making our comeback. In 2019 we were close to 50, and now we're about at 35.
What are you doing that's still metal nowadays? Are you doing like metal frames? Are you still building porcelain PFMs?
Oh, yeah, we still do PFMs.
Wow.
And we do gold crowns, obviously.
Out in California, you do PFMs?
Yeah, very few, but we probably do a couple a week, I bet.
I haven't seen a PFM in years, I swear.
I wish we had. I wish we didn't. I wish we didn't make them, but we do. And we're a full service lab, so we it's on our lab slip, and every now and then get circled.
Yeah. Got to take it off the lab slip.
Yeah, I know.
That's your first step.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And then your removable department, Cirenia, that's where you're at, obviously.
Yeah.
How big is that department?
Like 5 technicians.
Yeah? I bet you're cranking out work, though.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
What's your most common? Do you guys do a lot of economy dentures, premium dentures, over dentures?
We do a lot of dentures, but we're doing a lot of night guards also.
Okay.
Night guards are very famous.
Really?
After COVID, everybody has anxiety, so
we're all grinding when we sleep now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys do a lot of night guards, huh? What type of night guards do you make?
We do talon, we do hard, soft, and NTIs. Mm-hmm.
Any of them printing?
We're working on that right now. We want to try and test as much as possible so it doesn't look like it's gonna be hard for the patient and the doctors to transition from our normal night guards to the printed ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be hard to transfer them over or printed if your originals are so famous.
I know, but that's why we don't want it to be so drastic, the change.
Sure. Do they look that much different if they're printed and conventional?
They do. The ones that I've seen do.
Like when you say that, like what's the difference? Like what would the doctor see that would be different?
The printed ones are more blurry. Yeah, and they break very easily. They're not there yet.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when you say printed like models, printed diagnostics, they all look kind of similar, but I guess I can see. So it's the material, not necessarily the technology, but the material that they're making them out of that's not there yet?
Yes, that's what it is. Because we print models all day long here.
Yeah.
And we use them to do dentures and diagnose the wax apps and even for crowns. But the printed materials for dentures, I don't think they're there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to admit, we hear that a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like everyone says, they're nice for temporary
Mm-hmm.
sciences, but they haven't replaced the human yet, I
Yeah,
think.
gotcha.
I'm hoping they never will.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I'll get fired.
When you're doing removables on printed models, are you having to dupe those printed models and then pour it up in stone? Because I hear that all the time.
Yes,
We do it.
Yeah.
we do. Some of them we don't have to like Nygaard's sack downs. Not
Yeah.
we still can use it the printed model, but for the most part we do have to.
Isn't that kind of counter
It's
with
double
what
the
we're
work.
trying to? Yeah, what we're trying to get into here. Seems like there should be a workaround for that.
I think it's easier for the dentist because they don't have to take impressions, but not for us. We still
Yeah.
have to redo.
Well, who cares about us? I mean,
Right.
What's more work?
Yeah.
Charge for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you talk about printed, so I don't know if we've asked this already, but are you guys going to dabble into the actual printed denture part of it, or just stick with the immediates?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal is to start approaching that technology. We've definitely messed around and looked at it. We just can't quite see it, matching up to what Siri and her department can do just yet. But I think there'll be something we can do with it here soon, whether it be a more economic option for a denture possibly, or something along those lines.
Yeah. What's popular like in California right now with you guys as doctors? Are you guys doing a lot of removable, more zirconia? Like what is your number one product in your head that you do most of?
It's hard to say. We're a national lab. We actually focus more on doctors outside of California. What we found is that a lot of California doctors don't pay our price.
Mm.
We're pretty middle of the ground as far as pricing goes.
Mhm.
So this was a decision made by Greg and my uncle Scott years ago. Scott's head of sales here. We weren't getting good result. Guys didn't want to pay our price, and then we, started advertising in places like Texas and in Florida, and they were more willing. And so most of our clients are actually out of California.
That's pretty awesome. Do you think there's more DSO clients in California, which could be why?
I don't know. It could be. It could
Because I
be.
know a lot of our clients are DSO and they've got those contracted prices. And so we do the similar, where we go after the fee for service and the no groups and definitely can command better prices, which we all know we deserve.
Absolutely. I've seen it myself as it being a little more of a struggle here in California. I mean, you definitely have, your local denture guys that always want to have a local lab for their, same day turnaround repairs or relines or whatever. But generally, they're all pretty tough on the price. They all want that, $90 all Z crown or zirconia crown.
In 4 days and cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God.
Is that the competition price going in that area right now? $90.
Yeah. We have there's a couple labs around here that are down in that 90 range. Yeah. Yeah, it's Greg, my dad's always said it's a race to the bottom,
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest state that you work with?
Probably Texas.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
they love us there in Texas.
Do you guys have like a sales force that travels, or do you do it all from California, all of your marketing?
We do a lot of direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do, and then we have in-house salespeople that then would follow up on whatever the response is from that direct mail. But then we also pursue different internet options through social media and Google Ads and things along those lines.
Gotcha. Which is obviously working.
Yeah, everything has its role. It all produces at some one rate or the other. It's just some are better than others.
Agree.
Talk about your direct marketing. What do you do? What do you market? I mean, obviously you can't market the $90 crown. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So our direct mail letter, which was the brainchild of my uncle Scott and my dad. Basically, it's a letter about our zirconia crown, which is we call All Z.
Mm-hmm.
And what it also offers is a free iPad. So basically, what we run is if a doctor sends in $5,000 worth of work, then we'll send them a free iPad in return.
Really?
That's been what we've been using for a long time, and that some guys like it. And some guys come in and they do it all in like 3 weeks, and some guys take 4 months or whatever. But a lot of guys take advantage of that offer, and it's treated us really well over the years.
Smart.
So no matter how long it takes them to get to 5,000, once they get there, they get an iPad.
Yeah. So either if they want to do it real quick and then disappear forever, which some guys do.
I was going to say that was going to be my next question. How often does that happen?
It happens. It's some try to trick the system, and you got to kind of watch out for it. Like you'll get one office that has 5 doctors in it, and they could pound out $5,000 worth of work in a week. And they just try to, they come in and they'll send us, like a flood, and then they'll send the iPad off, and that's okay. We've worked out the budgeting on, on our end. So we know that, we're not going negative sending them an iPad. So if they want to just send 5 and then not come back, well,
take it.
Whatever they want to do. Yeah, we'll take it. Exactly.
That's an interesting idea. You don't hear this a lot with labs doing this.
Yeah.
And you found quite a lot of success with it, huh?
Yeah, we definitely get some calling, but it's not a cheap way of doing things. It's the Glidewell way. Glidewell was Jim Glidewell was basically the first out the door with direct mail marketing back in the day.
Sure.
And he's the one that turned that into a thing. Dental labs were very geographical, in your city, and then Glidewell was one of those first guys to start sending out all those letters, and so it's basically something we coined from him and use after seeing him do it. And, it works if you have the finances to get it done.
So do you guys send out like a direct mailer, like weekly, every 3 weeks, every month?
We do it monthly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, we have geographical areas that we send it to. Obviously, we don't send to the, every dentist in the United States at once. It's grouped up into groups and made, organized in a certain way.
Yeah.
A budget must be pretty large to hit Texas.
Yeah, I know you definitely pay for it, but it's and we're always looking for a cheaper way. You know what I mean? And so far, that's the best that we've been able to come up with, at least. And
if it works, yeah.
I won't say it's the best thing ever, right? But I'll say that it's worked for as long as I've been around here. So
I think it's a great idea. I don't know about iPads; they seem kind of expensive, but I'm kind of cheap, I'd be like, here's a free pen, a koozie, something like that. But you mentioned social media, Cirenia. That's how I know you, from social media.
Yeah.
Are you utilizing Cirenia's social media for your accounts, or does ProCraft have their own account?
Yeah, ProCraft has its own Instagram account. It's relatively new, that particular account, but we do post on there frequently, different cases we're working on or whatever. And then we have a Facebook that we also advertise on Facebook to different dentist groups that are on there. We're active on social media as of about a year.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much has to be at this point in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of the way things are going.
Yeah, get your name out there, get the products out there, people like it though. I think it was Elvis the other day. We were talking to somebody and she was like, if I don't post on Instagram every like 2 or 3 days, man, they're like, people just go bye-bye. Like they constantly want to be stimulated with some sort of new information.
Yeah, it's rewiring our brains to want that instant constant gratification. Okay. So it's a lot of work to keep it moving, keep the stuff, every day or I think we do twice a week is what we end up doing right now, as far as posting goes. But, if it's cheap,
yeah,
a cheap way to advertise. So
big time.
For sure. What about you, Cirenia? When did you start your social media?
I think it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was just a personal account, and then I started posting pictures, and people were liking them and asking me how to do some stuff, like how did I like to do my dentures. Some technicians like to do the upper first, some like to do the lower. And I kind of started doing videos and showing them how I make them. And they told me to make a YouTube channel for it, but I'm too lazy for that.
The phrase is "you're too busy." You're too busy for that.
I am.
Not lazy.
I have 3 kids, and they're all in sports and practices every day, and it's hard to keep up with social media. Like you said, if you don't do, they say you have to do 10 what is it called? The stories
Yeah.
a day. If you don't do that, then people are starting following you, and it's so hard to keep up.
10 stories a day?
That's what they said. That's like
Who's they? And
a day, yeah.
There's always a they, a day.
Yeah.
And,
I don't like they.
People start taking pictures of their food, and sometimes I don't want to do that. And sharing what they're eating, and no.
I could take a picture of my dog 10
Right?
times, I
Yeah.
guess.
And whatever. You have to get 10 stories, and you'll be famous.
Wow.
Now I want to know, how do you do your setups? Upper first, lower first?
I always do 2 upper and 2 lower teeth. And then I continue to do the upper, finish the upper one, and then start from the last molar in.
Wow. How did you learn that technique? Did you go to a course that taught you that, or is that self-taught?
I went to a lot of courses. I went to UCLA, Loma Linda, Vida, and I came up with that on, like, it's easier. It's for me.
Yeah, when you say it's easier, why? Because you've got like landmarks, or
yes, and it's also I follow the upper basically because it's the most important one, and then from the last I start the lower on the last molar to make everything nice, and I have a little wiggle room in the anterior teeth because I like to not have the Colgate smile, but more like natural. And so that's what I always, every time I train a technician, I tell them, do not send this denture out unless you will put it in your mouth. Just remember that it's someone's mother, someone's aunt, and it's like we just had a meeting this morning. Dylan just reminded us of that every time we grab a case, it's to look at the name because it's a person.
Yeah.
And it can be our sister-in-law, it can be our uncle. It's a human. And whatever we do is gonna make their life better, or we can give them a really hard time smiling. And that's nice to talk about when you're a technician. Because it's the first thing we do. We smile or we hide our smile.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to meet any denture patients at the lab to do custom shades or tweaking of a denture or anything?
Not recently, but I used to work at a dentist office for 2 dentists actually. And I will see the patients, and sometimes they will hug me, and then sometimes they'll bring me presents for the nice smile.
Aww.
And you rarely had those patients that were not happy with it, but it was really rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice experience.
Great when you get gifts. When were you at an office lab? Before ProCraft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before, yes.
Is that the first place you went when you came to the States?
No.
No.
I came to the United States in 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked for a few labs, and then I opened my own in 2010.
And that was just yourself in the garage?
No, it was I opened up a little, like an office space.
Yeah.
And I found out that I'm a better technician than a businesswoman.
It takes a lot to admit that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, I tell Greg, you can do the worry, I'll do what I do best. And I love my work, my job. I love what I do. And I think it shows on my work.
It comes through when you're talking about it too. I can feel it. Yep.
Yeah. I get pretty excited.
Yep.
So do you get to train the other people at the lab?
Yeah. Yes.
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 Do you run the removable department?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So all those people work under you. So if somebody comes in off the street, how do you train somebody?
Well, I always give them an upper and a lower full denture, half wax and half not. And I just give it to them, and I put wax on the wax spot, and I give them a few tools, and I just ask them to mimic the other side and not worry about not knowing anything. I just want to see how creative they are, and then from there I can tell if they will be good at it or not.
Well, that's what you did.
So you're talking like an upper and lower,
Mhm.
On the whole like right side, it's finished,
Yep.
set up, and then the left side is empty. And if somebody comes in that has no idea about dental lab work at all, you just say, give it your best shot.
Yes.
I love it. That's a great idea.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what she did, remember? She just sat down and said, here, let me do it.
Well, not everybody has that photographic memory. I mean,
No, that's why I do half. And then the other half is up to them. Some are really good. Greg actually has another technique for the crown and bridge guys. He gives them a little square wax, and he gives them a molar already finished in wax, and to try to copy that as best as they can.
that is so great.
Yeah.
And when people do this, you find any rock stars just kind of blossom that you're like,
Yes.
that they had no idea they had it in them?
Yes.
Yeah?
You know, it's really amazing actually. We do that crown waxing technique for any people we're considering hiring basically.
Yeah.
Come in and they carve that crown. And you can imagine some of them look pretty rough, but then every now and then one will come out and it'll be identical. And it'll be like some, 19-year-old kid right out of high school, and they're like, "Is this good?" We're like, "That's pretty good."
Well, sometimes you can tell immediately if somebody has skills, and then sometimes you can tell a little bit of thought process, and then sometimes you're just like, no, not happening.
Yeah.
Have you considered delivery driver?
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it. And really, if you don't expect people to have any sort of experience when they try it.
No.
No, absolutely. They don't.
What's the market in that area? Are there a lot of people that are experienced, or do most people that come into the lab, no idea?
Man, everybody here, for exception of a few like Siri, most people here are built from the ground up.
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
rarely do we get someone that comes in with any kind of technical background in being a dental technician. All of our team leaders here are all guys that have been here, since they were, 19 years old and have worked and have learned and understood, and now they run departments.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough to find qualified technicians from the street, at least here where we're at.
That's everywhere. Yeah.
I'm in Florida, and we cannot find any, especially removable.
Yeah.
I think removable is the area that the skill, those technicians are getting older, and the younger ones aren't coming into the field, and so when you find somebody, just got to use them to train, which it sounds like you guys are. That's tough. It's tough everywhere.
Tough part of the business, finding the talent you need.
Yep.
Once they've passed their initial test, we'll call it, and you hire them, what is the training protocol? Is it over the shoulder? Are there?
It's very much an apprenticeship type training style we do.
Okay.
But then we also have some inner lab training videos that we've made that just go over standard procedure and terminology, and a lot of the basic stuff. We have some tests that they take over time, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have, standard time set up for completing different tasks. And then they just have, they have a timer and they work to achieve whatever they're doing in the time that we have set for them.
Wow.
And that, that accountability of the timer is really what we found keeps people moving in the right direction and keeps them improving on their speed. And then, the majority of it's, like I said, just, working with a seasoned technician to learn the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still use the timer here as well. I agree with you. So if somebody could make a unit last 25 freaking minutes by just messing around with it and being creative, I'm like, no, you should be able to do that in 8 minutes. Here's a timer. And it's true. It does use it to mentally motivate people to move it, because you want to make sure you hit the timer or beat the timer.
Yeah, it's one of the best ways to keep technicians moving in my opinion.
Yep.
Because it works wonders. All of a sudden, like you said, someone will spend 30 minutes on the crown, and you give them a timer, and they're cutting. They cut their time in half in like 3 days.
Yes, and you benefit big time from it. Your business benefits, and they benefit too.
Yeah, it's not always that they're sandbagging. It's just they don't
Yep.
have the whatever mental timer in their head to tell them, hey, you should be going faster,
Yep.
or they don't know what they can expect from themselves a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't heard anybody say that in a long, long, long time, and we still use that as well, and it's a great tool. For sure.
How much time do you give them to do a setup?
It's 45 minutes for a full arch.
45?
Yeah.
Now, if we do that digitally, how much time are you going to give them?
We haven't done very many setups digitally, but I'd assume, comparing it to like, Crown and Bridge, if you're doing a full upper, it's going to take you, 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes probably.
Yeah, digitally?
Yeah. I bet people that have been doing it a long time can do it faster than that, but I can see a lot of clicks and a lot of changes and a lot of stuff going into that design for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, of course, coming from somebody that doesn't know how to do it.
Barb's the expert at it.
Yeah, not.
That is
So
my
what's-
ultimate goal, to design dentures digitally.
That is your goal?
Yes, all on 4.
All on 4. You guys do it all on 4s now?
We do, but we do it in Circonia, and I don't do those.
Yep.
The ones in acrylic I do.
Yeah.
So you go chair side and do the conversions?
We do.
But you don't?
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah.
So that's one of the services that we're offering now is chairside conversions.
Yeah. Do you do it direct or indirect?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, do you pick up the parts in the mouth, or do you pour up a model?
No, the doctor does that, and we put it in the model and we do it in there. I do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How often are you at conversions?
Probably like once or twice a month.
Okay, so it's not completely taking up all of your time.
No,
it's a part of the business we're really working on right now, trying to pull that business. It's the industry's in a really weird place right now, and it's kind of like I said, it's a race to the bottom, or you have the higher end boutique stuff, and a lot of the single molars are everyone has the same mills, everyone has the same therms, everyone has a lot of the same equipment now, and so really what it's coming down to is the specialty items like the big implant stuff, the hybrid dentures, or the all on 4s.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to focus more on that, and we have Siri that can do those conversions. Then we also have one other person here locally that can do those conversions for us as well. And so it's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to do because you take people off the bench to do it.
Exactly.
And that's where so much of it is lost.
Exactly.
You'll do one conversion, but that person lost a whole day's worth of production.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, Siri, what you're banging out every day. I imagine it's a lot.
it is, but the day goes by super fast. So I really like it when it's busy rather than not having nothing to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what's ProCraft working on next? What's the exciting thing are you guys looking to get into?
So we presently just purchased a new metal mill. I believe it's called the ASIS.
Okay.
And that should be coming in here hopefully by the end of this month. We're looking to get into, possibly milling out the partial frames, also bringing our titanium bar milling in-house. So
nice.
Those titanium bars here instead of having to outsource those out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're going. We're working on some hybrid zirconia over titanium bars.
Wow.
And so those have been, that's the tip of the spear right now as far as what we're trying to learn and get better at.
Do you guys do a lot of bar work?
We do a lot now, but mostly with acrylic. An acrylic all on 4 over titanium bar. But we haven't done very many of the zirconia over titanium bar. We've done plenty of just solid zirconia, but we're just now trying to get into the doing the bars.
Why is that? What is the appeal of doing zirconia over metal? Isn't zirconia kind of strong enough by itself?
So it depends on the circumstance you're dealing with. If you have it also depends on where the implants are placed. So if you have a very large span, lingually on if there's not an implant, placed, very, far enough lingually, then you'll have a very large hybrid zirconia, bridge basically jetting out lingually, where you have if I think it's over 5 different, if it's over 5 teeth, then you have a possible strength issue there where it could break, and we've seen some break. So by implementing that titanium bar that goes over, goes all the way back there, it allows for greater strength. So it's basically the ability to be more diverse in what patients we can treat. depending on what bone loss they have, where the implants were placed, where if they couldn't place an implant somewhere, so we couldn't get, the division of the implants, well enough to provide the strength. And then what it also allows you to do is it allows you to save on weight, because, zirconia is heavy. If you felt one of those hybrid dentures, it's like, I can't imagine having, 2 of those, an upper and a lower.
Yeah.
I've always joked people just sink to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, head first. And so you add in that titanium element, you take out so much of that zirconia, and they are significantly lighter as well.
Does it make the overlay of zirconia, does it make it easier to design and center that than it is like full arch without the substructure, or is it about the same?
Yeah, it's easier to do it without the bar. It definitely is, for us anyway.
Well, titanium's not cheaper, is it?
No, it's not cheaper. Well, actually, it's actually probably more expensive, to be honest. I mean, basically what we charge, for a titanium bar, that's going to be added on to the, hybrid denture charge. I mean, we're not going to discount the hybrid denture just because it has a bar in it, right? It's still the same amount of work. It's just a little bit less zirconia on the inside, on the ridge. So it'll be a more expensive product than a hybrid denture would be.
Yeah, but lighter, less chance of breakage. I mean, there's a lot of positives to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're going to be milling metal frameworks.
Yeah, we want to do mill out our PFMs. We still do. We want to stop casting those, hopefully, and then just put those right to a mill.
And you're going to do the copings out of titanium then?
Yeah, we do them out of titanium or chrome. Is what we do them out of. Yeah.
And what about you, Siri? What's next for you?
I think, like I said, I want to move a little bit more into designing, because I've been working since I was being as a dental technician since I was 16 years old. So my hands are pretty much done.
So that hand model career is just over, right?
I think I still have like good 10 years in my hands, but I don't think more than that.
So if you go into designing, you're going to do the designing of the dentures and the all-on-4s?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's awesome. What I want.
So Dylan, how are you going to provide a resource for her to train, learn, and do it?
We use 3Shape here in lab. Yep. We also have ExoCAD, which we may start, trying to do a lot of the bigger stuff on ExoCAD.
I hear that.
Yeah,
so do I.
We've heard the same thing, and so we're buying into it. We're gonna check it out. But we have a reseller, basically. 3D BioCAD is the name of the company that sells us our 3Shape. So they're a great resource for training and for help whenever we need something, we can't figure something out. They have Donald over there who just does a fantastic job, and he's basically our go-to for any real difficult stuff we don't know how to do.
Cool.
So you're going to utilize them to kind of help Cirenia train up to start doing more designs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also really try to get out to as many different conferences or different whatever symposiums or whatever they call them. Try to get as much knowledge as we can. So we're probably looking to senator some of those when the time's right.
Yeah.
Did you guys go to the LMT in February, Chicago?
No, we didn't. We didn't. We missed it this year.
But you normally go, you and your dad, or you and your dad?
Me and my dad usually go to there's the both of them. There's one here in California. And
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually like to try and get out to those. It's a lot of fun. Go hang out with all the dental tech nerds.
Yes. You know it. Yeah, we're all very, very similar. That's for sure.
Yeah. We're right there hanging out with the nerds with you.
But I like to see that there is more women in the industry now. Like before, when I used to go to like courses, it was just me, the only girl. And now there is more.
Yeah.
There's definitely a big shift, I would say, and it's most welcome, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we end up talking to more female technicians on this podcast, and it's not because we want to. It's just that's just where it goes.
In all kinds of countries.
Yeah, we've actually noticed, like for instance, we have our stain and glaze. We've noticed that our female technicians always do a much better job at the stain and glaze position than most men that we put there. I don't know why that is, but it's definitely worked out.
We're just better.
Nope.
I think I've heard that there's larger percentage of men that are colorblind.
Colorblind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
The first lab I worked at, the two owners, both of them were colorblind.
My dad was.
Your dad is?
Yeah, my dad is colorblind. That's why he never went into ceramics. He always specialized in the metal part of the business. And his partner, who was not colorblind, was the ceramist. Yeah.
There you go. Maybe that's our answer.
Funny you mentioned that. There's a reason that I stick in the digital department.
Are you colorblind?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
It was funny because one time I brought a really nice set of upper and lower dentures characterized, and I told Dylan, look, I was so excited. He's like, they look nice. I was like, that's it? He's like, I'm colorblind, Siri.
That's
well, there you go.
See the definition.
I think we know why now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cirenia, thank you so much for contacting us and putting this on. And Dylan, thanks for jumping on kind of 10 minutes into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. Greg's having some technical difficulties. He's not here in the office, so he was...
Yeah, we heard he's in Hawaii.
Yeah, he's in... Yeah, we know. He's at his house in
Hawaii. I wasn't going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't feel bad for him. But it's great stuff that you're all doing. And keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for sharing the story and some of your workflow. And thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for doing what you do. It's great to see people educating and having some fun in the dental tech industry.
Awesome, everybody. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Whitmix is thrilled to announce their most recent addition to their milling product line. Introducing the DWX-53DC from DG Shape. This powerful mill satisfies your need for speed. 3 reasons to consider this mill. 1, it has 3 times the gripping power for PMMA. 2, it mills 30% faster. And 3, the integrated webcam allows you to monitor a milling project from anywhere on any device. Head over to tinyurl.com/WhitmixRollAndMill. That's the word tiny, the letters url.com/Whitmix ROLAND mill. Or head over to this episode's show notes for a link. And as always, we appreciate your support of the podcast, Whitmix.
A huge thanks to Cirenia and Dylan for coming on our podcast. We are so sorry that Greg couldn't connect, but since he was in Hawaii at the time, I doubt that he minded it too much. But it is great to hear all about the success happening at ProCraft Dental Lab by putting the right people in the right leadership and having a good training in place for others to succeed. How about the idea of a free iPad? What do you think about that? I think that's pretty cool, huh, Elvis?
I think it's pretty nice. I could use a free iPad.
It's a unique way to market and would be interested if any other labs are doing something similar. If you are, we would love to hear about it. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and we can talk to you and your lab on a future podcast episode.
Awesome, everybody. That's all we got for you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye. She doesn't whine when I'm holding her.
I know. She loves her daddy.